If you are a mom who has struggled with debt or felt like you aren't in control of your finances, today's episode is perfect for you. I am bringing on a dear friend of mine, Jenna, who struggled with debt and was finally ready to change her financial situation and dove right in, learned some things, and she's going to share everything she learned with us today on the podcast. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Money Mom podcast. I am your host, Rachel Coons, and I am so excited for today's podcast. This was an idea that came to me a couple months ago, and it's taken me forever to finally make it happen. But inside the Money Mom Club, I have a coach who is just a dear friend of mine and a gem of a human. And she became a coach, I would say like January, February of this year. After joining the Money Mom Club, she reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I am so passionate about what I do and what I've done to change my family's life. And so I would love to come on and be a coach." Like she basically pitched to me that she wanted to be a coach. And I said, "Heck yes, I am not the queen of budgeting and I need somebody who is the queen of this." And so Jenna is here today and she is going to talk to us. So Jenna, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
And if
I
you're watching this on video, you get to see firsthand how how much light Jenna has and like how happy and exciting she is. And like that's one of the things that totally drew me to her was her energy. So I just, I don't know, I'm just spitting off compliments right
oh,
and left, Jenna. So
I love it. Can we
before
do
we
this
jump
every
into
day?
before we jump into today's episode, will you share your story? Just share where you live, kind of your background and why you're here today.
So I live in Massachusetts. I'm married. We have an 11-year-old son. We have a dog. So all the whole kit and caboodle. And we lived like everyone thinks you're supposed to. We just put stuff on credit cards and like summer camp would come up and we would just put it on the credit card and hope we would pay it off. And we'd go on vacation and we weren't living extravagantly by any means, but we weren't paying attention to our spending.
Hmm.
So back in 2021, I'd gotten a side hustle and I made some pretty decent money that year and just decided to keep spending that money. Like
Hmm.
I never really had a shut off and I
Hmm.
didn't understand giving your money a purpose. So it was like, oh, we have more, we can go get more.
Hmm.
And that side hustle became way too stressful. So I stopped it. And then truly for the past 2 years, I was riddled with anxiety, just feeling like we have to make more money. We have to make more money. How can I make more money? How can I bring in more money? And just seeing that we have credit cards that would never get paid off and paying the partial amount, but then you're like, okay, well, I'll play the credit card game and I'll move it to this credit card that's 0% interest and it'll
Hmm.
be fine. And I got roped into that system of like, well, now I have this credit card so I can put things on it again. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was vicious. And the guilt that started to settle on me because a lot of the spending was mine. Not that my husband would ever be like, "You did it," but more like I would go to the dollar store and I would get, $50 worth of things for the pool and, just random stuff, like not having any responsibility.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it kept circling and kept circling. And the depression that I felt and the anxiety, the guilt, the feeling ahead, like, is this how it's supposed to be? Like,
Hmm.
have you ever seen that YouTube video, the David after the dentist, where he's
Oh,
like, is this real life?
yeah. The kid
That's
on
how I
drugs.
felt.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so I'm in my 40s and this is just how it is. And it felt awful. And then I actually own a photography studio. And last August, my business partner, she started budgeting. And she's like, yeah, I just wrote everything down. And I was like, I don't wanna. I know. And she's like, you just need to write it down. And so finally one night I made my husband sit down and I was like, we need to go over what comes out of your account, what comes out of my account, and what are we spending money on? Because both of us would look at each other like, where is our money going? Like, what's
Hmm.
happening?
Hmm.
And so we sat down and, we made some decisions. Like I asked him to shut off his reoccurring payment to go get his car washed every month. You know,
Hmm.
it's not something we need. We'll manage. But it just, it was those moments that you had to make a decision like, is this driving us towards our goal or is it just something that feels lovely right now?
Hmm.
And when I started budgeting and it felt sticky, like
Oh,
it felt like all over the place. And I'm a kind of a person like I like to plan. So for me, that like this September month is different than October. If I had a really hard time adjusting to that.
like the flexibility of budget.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. So now understanding that each month is different, it almost excites me. Like the
Mhm.
fact that it's almost the 20th of the month. I'm almost like checked out of this month. Like, okay, all the big bills are paid. I'm ready to like figure out what's coming in October and adjust for that.
Mhm.
I started by just doing it in a calendar notebook. I would write down the bills that we have. I figured out how much do we spend on groceries, when about how often do we go get gas, and I would just write everything down and then write in when are our pay times because we each get paid every 2 weeks. And from there it was like, okay, I could zoom ahead and be like, this paycheck is going to cover these bills. And it
Mm.
at first it was tricky, and it is for everybody. The first couple of months you're learning something new but also finding your groove in it.
Mhm.
And then I end up getting an app and I love the app. It syncs directly to my bank. So if I made 3 transactions today or something got charged to my credit card, they all come in and now I can tell it, oh, yep, that was for the water bill. This one was for the electric bill. It just feels so much easier.
Mm. What's
It's
the app? What's the app that you're using?
I use the Every Dollar app.
Yes.
I
Yep.
did pay for the premium version, which when I first did it, I was like, I'm in debt and I have to pay for this.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
But it's 1000% worth it. Their customer service has been awesome because there's times I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, no problem at all. And it's just easy that it's on my phone, it's on my computer. So if I'm sitting in pickup line and I actually have service on my phone, I can go and go, and those transactions are told where they need to go.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so just like kind of recounting your experience. So you started because a friend was doing it. You were
Yep.
also like, did it hit a breaking point where you kind of just realized, like, I actually don't have to be miserable about this anymore? Like, I don't have to feel as stressed anxiety, or did that not come till after?
That's a good question. I think it didn't come till after. I
Mm.
think I was still in the flight or fight or flight mode
Mhm,
at
mhm,
first of like, I still felt like we need to make more money to make this happen. But then
mhm,
once I started to actually see what money we spend and what we do have left over,
mhm.
it made me understand, oh, I could start putting this towards a payment.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it wasn't until later that like I finally felt more flexible, if that
right.
makes sense.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Well, I think that's what happens with our brains. First off, when we're in a situation of fight or flight, like you were with money, which I'm sure there's moms who are listening who are like, yep, that's me. I'm there. I'm in that situation. And if you're not right now, you will be at some point, right? We
Yes.
all will have
Yes.
situations where you're like, shiz hits the fan and something is not right. What happens in our brains when we're in those situations? We, what happens is you want to stay safe. And in the chaos is where we feel safe.
Hmm.
And our brains don't want to look at the numbers because it's something that's scary and different. But when we're finally able to look at the numbers, a lot of the times, I think more times than not, we find clarity and peace, even if the numbers don't make sense. Even if you
Yes.
don't have the money to pay off the debt, even if the math doesn't figure itself out naturally, just by bringing clarity to the situation, we take ourselves out of fight or flight and we take back the power that we've been giving to the unknown. There's so much anxiety with the unknown. And just by knowing, then we dampen that experience.
Yes.
And
Yeah, you're 100% right. True. Like, absolutely.
and it's really hard as someone who's in the moment for someone to say, all you have to do is just go look at numbers. This is like, it's almost like too simple.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
we're here to tell you that
Yeah.
that is what you need. That the
Yeah.
sometimes the hardest thing is the solution, right?
You have to put your big girl adult pants on and actually go look at the numbers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and humans are meant to to shy away from any type of pain, right? We don't want to feel any pain.
Yeah.
And the guilt and the shame that can come with the numbers can also create a lot of shame and guilt. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it did bring up all of those feelings because it was like, oh, it made you see the credit card bill is this, or we are always putting, we're always paying for this. So I think it brought those feelings to a head so that I could acknowledge them
Hmm.
and adjust where we needed to, but also be like, okay, yes, I spent that money on that thing. It brought us through summer with beach equipment and whatever. So, I'm grateful for that, now we own that. I didn't have to buy it again now.
Hmm.
So it did help to bring those feelings to the surface. And then for me to finally like whoosh them away and be like, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. And I think you can't discount the journey. Like we're
Yeah.
all on a journey, and all of the journey leads you to where you are here right now, where you're
Hmm.
choosing to make a decision. In fact, I was just on a Money Mom Club member call yesterday, and some of the women were struggling because their husband got laid off. And that was the reason that they had joined the Money Mom Club is they're like, my husband got laid off, our income has decreased significantly, and now we're kind of in the state of like, we got to figure this out now more than
Yeah.
ever. And you can look at that with two different lenses and you can say, this is so annoying. I'm now like, we're struggling financially, all these things. Or you can look at it as an opportunity
Hmm.
to really get close to the money and to figure
Yeah.
out where your money's going. And I think if we use our situations, our debt, our things like that, and we say, what can I learn from this? How can I
Yeah.
come out of this better? And now, like, especially for you, Jenna, it's like, now once this debt is all paid off, are you ever going to go into credit card debt again?
No, I
Yeah.
no, I can't. I can't. I was even talking to my son yesterday. He goes, "Can you buy a car with cash?" And I was like, "Yes, that's how we will buy our next car." Because I am not going to try and take out another loan and owe someone money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, okay."
And that lesson would have never been taught had you
No.
always been perfect with money,
Yep.
right? So our
Yep.
lessons become our best teachers, and we have to
Hmm.
acknowledge that. So
Yeah.
tell me, so this was back in like August, October of last year.
Yep.
Fast forward to a couple months later, like you had downloaded this app, you were starting to figure things out. What then happened?
You guys. I paid off loan to my mom that I had because I had taken out a loan because I was like, oh, the bank's got this low interest rate. So if I take it out through you, to cover a credit card that I kept racking up. It
Hmm.
was the darn summer camp. And so I had a loan to my mom that I paid off 5 months early. We had a credit card that had $7,300 on it that I've paid off. We paid
Yes.
off my car loan in April. I'm getting chills. Like,
Yes, me too. Me too.
so I live in Massachusetts, so we have cold winters, and our furnace broke down in January, and I was like cruising on my debt payoff, and then I was like, oh, oh, that's $8,100. Okay,
Wow.
sure. So I had to kind of veer which things I was paying off, and I got that thing paid off in 4 months.
Wow.
And it's all just because I've been paying attention to the money and shifting the money. Yes, have we made some things that my family's like, really? We're so like we can't just go like do the thing. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There has been some restriction
there
involved.
have been. And
Yes.
once I step back and I'm like, you feel bad in the moment. You don't want to say no. You don't want to say, no, we can't do that. But really the things they're asking, like they're not anything that are helping us to survive. It's like, "Oh, can we go to Six Flags today?" Well, yes, but we're gonna bring our own food because we had already paid for the ticket or whatever we need to
Right.
do. So
Right.
it's just trying to shift the things we appreciate more and the things that we do so that it's not just you're buying all this junk that you're gonna throw away in 2 months. It's appreciating the things that you're buying or the journeys you're paying for or the adventures so that they're more meaningful.
Right.
But as a mom, it does feel crappy to be like, "No, I'm sorry, you can't have Nutella for the 5th time this month." Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, but how beautiful that you're teaching your son what it looks like to take control of your money, right? And because
Yeah,
if we just buy whatever we want all the time, then what are we teaching our children? that you're just going to
Exactly.
buy whatever you want all the time. So you're
Exactly.
teaching him that no, money has a place in our budget and we have to stick to that budget, you know.
Yeah.
Some type of control on that is important.
Yeah.
So you've paid off 20,000? How much total?
As of the end of August, $42,000.
Shut up.
Yep. And
Wait, I didn't
my,
know that.
yeah.
In less than 1 year.
Yep. So it was say from September 1st, let's say. So a year. So
Holy
part of it
cow.
was that I had worked at Apple a long time ago. So I had a stock in Apple. So there was about $5,000 in there. So I paid off one of the credit cards, but everything else has been with the incomes that we have. We haven't had any crazy raises. I do a side hustle for you that, I bring in a little extra income each month, but it's not like we jumped up significant amounts of income. It's just because I was like, okay, we need to shift where things go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's what can change in a year, right?
I- yeah. You and I were talking the other day, and as I'm saying it out loud, I was like, oh my God. Like, that's insane.
Mm-hmm. It's
And it's
insane.
it's it's funny. I was teaching a budgeting workshop the other day, and there's this lady I follow on Instagram. Her name's Laura St. John. She's
Uh-huh.
a celebrity mindset coach.
Oh, cool.
Yes. And so I was like following her because I kept waiting for like that magic wand that everything would just be better and that we
Hmm.
would make a buttload more money and everything would be fine. And so I just kept following everybody and signing up for everything and just hoping something would click. And at one point she had you do this paper, it's called the flip it chart or something. So you take a piece of paper and you put it in half, and on one side you say, I clearly do not want, and you list three things.
Mm.
And as of last August, which I'm so sad I didn't date this, but it says, I don't want to keep living paycheck to paycheck.
Hmm.
I don't want to keep feeling stuck. And I underlined stuck, and it's like big letters. And then I said, being limited by money, not being able to buy the groceries we need slash want, feeling that pit in my stomach when a bill pops up or an extra expense like school supplies or clothes. I don't want to keep having that scarcity or lack, the not enough, that heaviness on my chest. So the way I had it hung up in my office was it was like behind a piece of paper like this. So I could only see this bottom part. So at that same time, you flip it over and you write, I clearly do want, and you write the things you want.
Hmm.
And I didn't realize what I had written a year ago. So at that time, I wrote what I clearly do want. You guys are going to laugh. To be great at budgeting and make the best decisions with our money. I want to see progress and I want to pay off bills effortlessly. I was like, holy crap, now I'm teaching budgeting.
And you called that into existence. Mic drop.
Universe. I was like, come here. Boom.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Wow. And like, could you have ever imagined last year that you would be sitting in the situation you are now?
No, the amount of tears that I cried and stress I felt, and my anxiety would come out, so I would be frustrated towards my family and I'd be short with them, and just I don't have that anymore. I mean, obviously like some mom days you do, but
Yeah,
like
sure.
I don't it's so much more free flowing now. Like my
Hmm.
husband said the other day, I was like, "Oh, hey, it's payday. I got to pay these bills." He's like, "Oh, forgot it was payday." Like we've
Hmm.
gotten to the point that like everything just flows. I have things set up on automatic payments wherever I can. Um, I have some things that like we need to save up for. Like for instance, I needed tires on my car, so I knew it was coming. So I figured out how much is that going to cost and when do I need that done by. So, okay, 5 months. So I was able to be like, I'm going to set up a sinking fund. So each month I would put aside $125 towards that so that it wasn't this shocker factor at the end. And instead of going towards my credit card, I could pull from that savings.
Mm, genius. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So you've
so
really just
helpful.
created this foundation that you didn't have before of like
Yeah.
tracking the numbers, making sure that you know the bills, and just staying on top of that, right? Just
Yeah.
every month checking in with what the numbers are.
Yep. And even it sounds crazy, and I don't want people to feel like, but I love doing it every day because
Mm,
it's so much easier. Do it when you're eating breakfast, because to track those 3 transactions, or maybe a subscription pops up in your account that you're like, ooh, I didn't remember that was a yearly thing. It just keeps you more accountable, and have a visual on the money coming in and the money going out. And
yeah.
it's so easy with the apps.
Yeah,
So
and
easy.
and this is something that I think so many women are going to relate to your story, first off. But second, like you said at the very beginning, that you were making more money at one point and then you just were spending more money. And it wasn't until you decided, oh, it's not the more money that's going to fix this situation.
Yeah.
It's creating these foundational principles that you now have
Yeah.
first and foremost. So,
Hmm.
because who cares if you get a pay raise? Who cares if you're bringing in more money if you still don't hold on to it? If you are still
Exactly.
living paycheck to paycheck. And I promise you, from all of the members, all of the women that we've worked with, it doesn't matter how much money you make if you don't control it
Yep.
on the back end. It does not
Yep.
matter. The lifestyle creep will happen, the more expensive everything will happen if you
Hmm.
don't figure this out now and
Yeah.
really get to the bottom of it. Now, that doesn't mean, that's not me saying going out and getting a job or making more money or working for that is good and important and a great option.
Yep.
But I wouldn't look at that as a solution until this is figured out, right? It's kind of like one
Yep.
domino then attracts the other domino, which is why we have
Absolutely.
both of those things in the Money Mom Club. But what I really want people to start with is the grocery budgeting, the foundations of budgeting, that
Yeah.
type of thing. Because you did do exactly what we teach in the Money Mom Club. You didn't know this. You're the perfect candidate for this. But so you started with the budgeting
Yeah.
and then you got a job. And then you went out.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want to make some extra money. Once I
Hmm.
figured this out, once I've controlled the numbers, I'm going to go out and make a little bit of extra money. And that's when you contacted me and I was like, "Heck yes, come on in, let's do this." And so these two things together,
Yeah.
now you've been able to pay off all this debt. So here's
Yep.
the other thing that nobody talks about.
Yeah.
I talked about this yesterday on our call was that um the cool thing about paying off debt is that you're paying off so much money each month towards the credit card, whatever, to those things. So once you pay those off, once you like
Yeah.
hyper focus and you restrict and you do all the things that you need to do, then it's like getting a pay raise when you
Yes.
don't have to pay those off. So like for the next year, Jenna, you're gonna make like 42,000 more dollars
Yeah.
than you did last year because you were paying off debt. So because you were in the negative.
Yeah.
Now we get to that breaking zero point and then we can live with a little bit more wiggle room, a little
Yep.
bit more freedom when it comes to our
Yep.
money. Once you don't have that negative thing that you're paying
Exactly.
off.
Yep.
So,
And this all help me to have a bigger, clearer picture. We are going to have to move out of this house at some point. It's just getting too small for the 4 of us.
mhm.
And, so my husband shows me houses online, and I'm like, fine. And the other day he showed me one, and I was like, oh, that was nice. But in my head, I'm going, we're still in debt. We can't get it yet. But
Mhm.
the next morning I drove to go look at the house, which was a huge mistake. But I sat outside crying
Oh.
because I was like, I now know what our income is and what our current bills are. So, yes, we could maybe go into this thinking we could pay for the house, but that house is bigger. So, those utilities are more, those
Mhm.
expenses are bigger. And I was
Mhm.
like, that this won't flow with what we have going on right now. So
Mhm.
until it just made me more aware of like, okay, we need to pay off these credit cards and my husband's car loan sooner, so
Mhm.
that just like you said, we can free up that money, and now it could go towards that house that has a nice neighborhood my kid can ride his bike in and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
So it
Yeah.
was it was a moment of like, if you had asked us last August, like, hey, look at this house, we might have jumped on it. But
Mm.
now you're struggling even more with what you make on bigger things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it made me more aware of how to use our money the best.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
and this is like you're making this from an empowering decision, not from a disempowering decision,
Right.
right? Like this is like, no, there's things that are more important to me than this. And that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it won't ever be the answer,
Yep.
but but now I need to make a decision for my family and it, right?
Yeah. But it was just that realization, like, I don't want to put us back to where we just were a year ago and
Mhm.
feeling that stress and heaviness again that I, we're doing everything suffocated.
Right. Yeah.
So
Super cool. So speak to the mom who is where you were last July, last
yeah,
August. Again, work and I'm already exhausted. I'm
yeah,
already too busy. I'm already, all these things, all the things that keep us in the place that we are. Can
yeah,
you speak to that, mom?
yeah. I want you to suck it up, Buttercup, and I want you to go look at your accounts and see what is actually coming out.
Hmm.
It's gonna feel icky, but you're gonna find a lot of hidden subscriptions in there that you didn't even remember you were paying for.
Hmm.
I found a nail subscription that I had been paying $10 a month, but I didn't know where the charge was coming from. So finally,
Hmm.
once I looked at all my credit card statements, I was like, oh, that thing's been on for years. So
Hmm.
now times that by 10 every month, I've spent hundreds of dollars on something I have never used.
Hmm.
So, take an evening and sit down and go through all your accounts, credit cards, everything, and write down what you spend your money on.
Hmm.
Put a date next to it. The utilities come out on the 1st, the Spotify comes out on the 10th. And you may say, oh, well, we have Spotify and Pandora. We never listen to Spotify. So that gives you the opportunity to start figuring out like what things do you use or what's important to your family. So,
Hmm.
I'm not saying shut off everything. Do I need Spotify? No, but the amount of different things that we use it for every day between myself, my husband, my son, it did make sense to keep that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really want you to sit down and again, it doesn't feel good, but once you do it, like literally you feel this like, okay,
Yeah.
because now you kind of have a plan. You
Hmm.
go, oh, okay, does this suit what our goals are? Maybe not. It really just helps you to take that step forwards to figure out what are you going to do.
Hmm. Yeah.
But it you just got to do it.
Yeah. Well, and one of the best things we can say is like get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like it's going to
Oh
be a
yeah.
little uncomfortable, but the payoff is so great. And like, are
Oh,
you feeling stress and anxiety now? Do you feel it?
not nearly what I did before.
Yeah.
Not nearly.
Yeah. And what could that be like for someone if you just jump in,
Yeah.
right?
I just the fact that we truly like we forget what day is payday because everything's so automatic and we've gotten the transactions that we make so much smaller that it's easy for me to go in and do the budgeting because it's not 16 things in one day. Obviously there's some days that it'll be like that, but we've paid more attention to how many, just like the shop the shelf stuff. How many times do you go to the grocery store? Well, instead of going 4 times in 2 weeks, I'm going one, maybe one other one.
Hmm. Hmm.
Try not to. So it's really helped to open my eyes of what spending are we doing. um but yeah, you got to be uncomfortable and do it because I'm telling you, you're gonna find there's money that's just been flowing out of your door, and you're like, I could use that for groceries because we're struggling for groceries, or I could use that for my credit card. You'll be amazed what you will find, even if you're like, I shut off Netflix and it's $25 a month, times
Yeah.
that by 12.
Yeah. Right.
That's
Right.
a lot.
There's money to be had in
Oh
places.
yeah.
So if you're
Yep.
struggling, the first step is finding those leaks in your bucket, right? We
Mhm.
always talk about the
Yes.
leaks. There's lots of leaks, and
Yep.
controlling that is the first step.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Jenna, for coming on and sharing your story. Um, like I said, Jenna is a member, a Money Mom Club coach. So she hosts the coolest class every month. She hosts like a start your monthly budget class where she kind of helps you walk hand in hand through your monthly budget. And the members love that class. But Jenna, anything else that we forgot or you want to share before we wrap up?
No, I think that was it. Is you just need to get started.
Hmm.
It's going to be uncomfortable, but I promise you that even after the first month, as much as it's going to feel like wishy-washy, you've made great steps into recognizing all the things that you spend your money on. And now it starts to bring your goals further to like closer to your heart. So there's going to be months that you're going to be like, my budget is wackadoodle, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That is okay. But I just want you to try something, write things down on a piece of paper, do an Excel sheet, do a calendar, do something.
Yeah.
So I just want people to start.
Yeah. Amen.
Yep.
Amen. That's it. And then in 1 year, you could be where Jenna is
Oh
and pay
my
off
God.
this debt. It's so cool. So, so cool. Well, thank you, Jenna. We'll have to have you back on in a couple months and
Okay.
get an update on what's going on. But thank you for being here. Thank you for all you do for me and for the Money Mom Club. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Rachel.